That's my distraction. Singing's always been part of my life. I grew up as a little kid singing in church, like so many did at that time. Learned to play the guitar about 9, 10, 11 years old. Been playing and singing ever since.
An Arkansas pastor at the center of the internet's biggest identity mystery has just revealed something that changes everything, and the answer isn't what anyone expected. For more than 4 decades, a man named Robert Wayne Joyce lived his life with absolute certainty about who he was. A pastor, a husband, a servant of Christ. Nobody outside his small Arkansas church knew his name. Nobody cared. Then the internet decided to rewrite his story. And in doing so, it uncovered something far more complex than a simple case of mistaken identity. What started as casual social media speculation has evolved into one of the most persistent conspiracy theories of the modern era. Millions of people have become convinced that this humble preacher is actually someone else, someone legendary, someone who supposedly died decades ago. But the deeper you dig into this story, the more you realize the real mystery isn't about hidden identities. It's about how quickly fiction can overtake truth online. It's about obsession. It's about what we believe versus what we can verify. So what exactly happened? How did a devoted pastor become the subject of endless speculation? And why does the theory refuse to die despite overwhelming evidence against it? The Ordinary Life Before Everything Changed, born on June 19, 1952, Robert Wayne Joyce entered the world as an unremarkable child in an unremarkable place. His early years were shaped by faith, family, and a deep spiritual conviction that would define his entire existence. In 1975, at a young age, he married Willina, a woman who would become his lifelong partner in ministry and life. Their union wasn't about romance or passion capturing headlines. It was about shared purpose, shared calling, shared devotion to something greater than themselves. By 1981, Joyce took a formal step that would cement his life's direction. He was officially ordained as a minister. This wasn't a celebrated moment with crowds and fanfare. It was a quiet recognition of a commitment he'd already made. A commitment to preach Scripture, to lead worship, to serve people spiritually, to point them toward Christ rather than toward himself. What happened next was remarkable precisely because it was so unremarkable. Joyce and Willina gathered with a small group of believers. 7 people, perhaps 8. Nothing more. No building. No formal structure. No ambitions for growth or recognition. Just faithful people meeting together to worship, to study the Bible, and to support one another in their spiritual journey. For decades, this remained his world. Week after week, Sunday after Sunday, Joyce stood before his congregation, however small it was, and preached the gospel message. He led worship. He offered spiritual guidance. He lived a life completely detached from celebrity, fame, or public recognition. His mission statement, repeated often, was clear: this ministry exists not for the promotion of any individual, but for the continued proclamation and exaltation of Jesus Christ and his gospel. But as time progressed, something gradually shifted. Around 2010, the small gathering began to grow. More people heard about Household of Faith Church. More people attended services. More people experienced what Joyce was offering: authentic biblical teaching and genuine community. The congregation expanded from a basement meeting to a rental space, then to a larger rental space. By 2019, they'd moved to a building with actual sanctuary space, classrooms, and fellowship areas that could accommodate growing numbers. By 2024, the church had grown substantially enough that leadership made a significant decision. They purchased their own property. A new building was constructed and prepared. In 2025, Household of Faith Church opened its doors at 8408 Samples Road in Benton, Arkansas. The new facility featured seating for over 250 people, parking for 75 vehicles, and modern amenities befitting a thriving congregation. Yet despite this growth, Joyce remained the same man he'd always been. He preached every Sunday. He led every worship service, He welcomed every visitor personally. He sought no special recognition or status. Joyce had accomplished something remarkable. He'd built a genuine ministry without building a brand. He'd grown a church without becoming famous. He'd served thousands without seeking recognition. His life was proof that deep spiritual work doesn't require headlines or viral moments. It requires consistency, faithfulness, and commitment to something beyond yourself. That anonymity would not last. When viral videos changed everything in recent years, something unexpected happened. Videos of Pastor Bob Joyce began circulating across social media platforms. YouTube clips of his sermons, TikTok shorts of his gospel singing, Facebook posts featuring his messages. Nothing unusual about this. Thousands of churches post sermon content online. But these videos found an unexpected audience. People began watching not because they were members of his congregation, but because something about Joyce caught their attention in a peculiar way. His voice sounded familiar. His facial features seemed oddly recognizable. His mannerisms, the way he moved, the way he gestured, the expressions he made, triggered a specific memory in the minds of millions of viewers. And then, in comment sections and online forums, people started saying it. Does anyone else think? Has anyone noticed? Could he possibly be? Within weeks, a theory had formed. Within months, it had spread across the entire internet. People became convinced that Pastor Bob Joyce was not actually Robert Wayne Joyce. They believed he was someone else, someone who had reportedly died in 1977, someone legendary, someone famous, someone impossible. The theory was that Bob Joyce was actually Elvis Presley. What started as casual speculation quickly became an obsession. Online communities dedicated themselves to finding proof. YouTube channels emerged featuring side-by-side comparisons of Elvis performances from the 1970s and Bob Joyce sermons from 2020, 2021, 2022, Reddit threads filled with theories. Facebook groups dedicated to the comparison formed. TikTok creators built entire channels around the hypothesis. Every new video of Bob Joyce was dissected, analyzed, scrutinized by believers searching for confirmation. Supporters of the theory pointed to facial features, voice characteristics, body language, mannerisms, smile shape, the way he held himself, the way he moved on stage. They created elaborate comparisons, claiming the resemblance was too uncanny to be coincidence. If Elvis had faked his death, a theory itself that had circulated for decades, then transforming into an Arkansas gospel pastor, would be the perfect hiding place. It would be the ultimate disappearance, a way to disappear completely while still serving the spiritual purpose that reportedly interested him in his later years. Millions became convinced. Thousands actively debated the theory. The comment sections exploded. Subreddits formed with thousands of members. Online forums filled with threads analyzing every detail. The theory gained momentum with each new piece of evidence believers discovered or imagined. Every video became a potential revelation. Every performance became a potential confirmation. What actually happens when you check the facts? But here's where the theory begins to crumble under the weight of reality. Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8, 1935. Robert Wayne Joyce was born on June 19, 1952. That's a 17-year age difference. Not a small discrepancy. Not something that could be explained away. 17 years. Documented, verified, recorded across multiple official sources, birth certificates, government records, historical documentation. When Elvis reportedly died on August 16, 1977, Bob Joyce was already 25 years old. He was married to Willina. He had been an ordained minister for nearly 4 years. He was already serving in ministry in Arkansas. There's no gap in his documented life. No missing years. No mysterious disappearance followed by re-emergence as someone else. His life is traceable, verifiable, and consistent. Consider also the fundamental difference in life trajectories. Elvis Presley became one of the most famous entertainers in human history. He performed before massive crowds. He recorded hundreds of songs. He appeared in movies. He was photographed constantly. His every movement was documented. His image is instantly recognizable. His voice is legendary. He was the definition of fame and public recognition. Bob Joyce, by contrast, spent 50 years serving a small church in Arkansas. His sermons were watched by his congregation and, in recent years, by people online. His life was dedicated to spiritual service, not entertainment. His goals were opposite to Elvis's path. His world was intentionally private. His focus was intentionally on Christ rather than on himself. Two completely different lives, two completely different purposes, two completely different outcomes. But the theory persisted anyway. The ministry attempted to address the speculation directly. In 2017, before the Elvis theory had reached peak viral status, Bob Joyce made an explicit statement. This ministry is not about the promotion of any man, but continued proclamation and exaltation of the person and the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. He was warning people, before the chaos began, that speculation about identity contradicts the entire mission of his ministry. When asked directly about the Elvis theory, Joyce has been consistent in his response. He is not Elvis Presley. He has never claimed to be. He has never hinted at being. He has never suggested it. He is Robert Wayne Joyce, a pastor from Arkansas who preaches the gospel. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. Yet one specific rumor deserves examination. Online believers claimed that Joyce attended Lisa Marie Presley's funeral, implying some connection to the Presley family. This would have been powerful evidence if true. It wasn't. When investigated, the man seen at Lisa Marie's funeral was identified as musician Andy Childs, who had genuine professional connections with the Presley family. A case of mistaken identity fueling a larger conspiracy theory about mistaken identity. The irony is striking. The darker consequences nobody predicted. What's become increasingly apparent is that while the Elvis theory might seem harmless on its surface, just people having fun online, enjoying a mystery, the reality is far darker. The obsession has created genuine problems for Bob Joyce and his ministry. Fake accounts have proliferated across every platform. Someone claiming to be Pastor Bob Joyce on Facebook, another person impersonating him on Telegram, yet another on TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp. These fraudulent accounts reach out to people claiming to represent Joyce or his church. They ask for money. They claim to need donations for church ministries. They request financial assistance for various causes. They send private messages requesting contributions. They use Joyce's name and image to build credibility. None of it is legitimate. The real Bob Joyce does not send private messages to people online. He does not maintain accounts on Telegram, TikTok, X, Instagram, or WhatsApp. He does not ask for donations through unofficial channels. He does not engage in online conversations or correspondence. His only verified accounts are his official Facebook page, his official YouTube channel, and the official church website. Everything else is fraudulent, yet people continue to report losing money to fake accounts. Others report emotional manipulation by imposters pretending to offer spiritual guidance or pastoral care. Vulnerable people seeking connection or spiritual help have been targeted by scammers using Joyce's name and image. The Elvis conspiracy theory, by creating fascination and investment in Joyce's identity, has inadvertently created the perfect cover for fraud. The ministry has issued repeated warnings. They've emphasized that any account asking for money is not legitimate. They've urged supporters to verify communications through official channels only. They've warned about fake videos, edited content, and misleading information spread in Joyce's name. But the warnings struggle against the momentum of the conspiracy theory and the sheer volume of fraudulent content online. The response that reveals character here's what makes Bob Joyce's response to this situation remarkable. He could have handled it very differently. He could have fought back aggressively. He could have hired lawyers and sued for defamation. He could have pursued legal action against people spreading false claims about his identity. He could have gone on media tours, appearing on podcasts and television programs to explain the conspiracy theory and demand people stop. He could have turned this into a massive publicity event for himself and his church. He could have profited enormously from the attention. Speaking engagements, book deals, documentary appearances. A career built on explaining why people think he's Elvis. He could have monetized the mystery. Instead, he did something entirely different. He continued preaching every Sunday. He continued leading worship services. He continued serving his congregation. He continued his ministry work without taking salary, without seeking endorsements, without capitalizing on the bizarre fame his name had somehow acquired. He refused to allow internet chaos to distract from what he believed mattered. He refused to let speculation redefine his purpose. In interviews and official statements, Joyce has expressed something counterintuitive: gratitude. If people are listening to his sermons because they're curious about the Elvis theory, then at least they're hearing the gospel message. If the conspiracy brings people to church, perhaps something good emerges from the chaos. If the unusual attention points people toward Christ, then the obsession serves a purpose beyond itself. This is not the response of someone with something to hide. This is not the response of someone desperate to prove who he is. This is the response of someone genuinely confident in his identity, his purpose, and his mission. Someone who doesn't need the world to believe him because he already knows the truth. What this reveals about our culture, the persistence of the Elvis as Bob Joyce theory, tells us something uncomfortable and revealing about internet culture and human psychology. We are drawn to mysteries. We want them to have answers. We want coincidences to mean something significant. We want ordinary people to secretly be extraordinary. We want hidden truths waiting to be discovered. The idea that a pastor in Arkansas might actually be one of the most legendary musicians in history is far more captivating than the mundane reality. He's simply a faithful servant doing quiet work in a small church. But conspiracy theories don't emerge in a vacuum. They emerge from genuine human needs: the need for meaning, the need for connection, the need to feel like we've discovered something nobody else has noticed. The internet has weaponized these needs, creating environments where theories spread faster than truth, where speculation overwhelms evidence, where belief replaces verification. What happens when this psychology, this human tendency to seek hidden meaning, meets genuine vulnerability? When one person's private life becomes a public puzzle to solve, when millions of strangers become invested in rewriting someone else's identity. Bob Joyce's story shows us that we've created a digital culture where identity itself has become negotiable, where enough people believing something can manufacture an alternate reality, where fictional narratives spread faster and farther than documented facts, where a man who has devoted his entire life to pointing people toward Christ must instead spend his time combating scammers, correcting conspiracies, and clarifying who he actually is. The real crime here isn't that Pastor Bob Joyce is hiding an identity. The real issue is that we've all become so invested in believing he's hiding something that we've stopped asking the harder question: what is the actual cost of this obsession? What damage does it do to a real person when millions of strangers decide they know his truth better than he does? The legacy that endures for more than 40 years, Bob Joyce has built a legacy measured not in fame, followers, or recognition, but in faithful service. He has preached scripture consistently, Sunday after Sunday, for decades. He has led worship with genuine devotion. He has counseled people facing difficult circumstances. He has built a church community centered on Christ rather than on personality. He has raised children and grandchildren, serving as an example of faith lived authentically. He has trained leaders in his congregation. He has opened his church to newcomers. He has served his community with humility and consistent purpose. Yet in recent years, much of the public conversation surrounding him has shifted entirely. It no longer focuses on his decades of ministry work. Instead, it centers on an internet conspiracy theory that claims he's secretly someone else. A sensational mystery instead of a faithful life. An unsolved puzzle instead of proven character. The ministry's position is unambiguous. This unexpected attention, while bizarre, does not define Bob Joyce or his mission. His real legacy will not be determined by what internet conspiracies claim about his identity. It will be measured by the authentic work of a man who refused to allow speculation and chaos to redefine his purpose. It will be remembered by the lives he's touched, the people he's helped spiritually, the congregation he's built, and the faithful example he's lived. Despite years of viral speculation, despite conspiracy theories refusing to die, despite fraudulent accounts using his name, Bob Joyce's ministry continues. His sermons continue. His worship leadership continues. His dedication to Christ continues. The noise of the internet has not silenced the quiet, faithful work of a pastor in a small Arkansas church. Conclusion. The question we should ask: so where does this leave us? With a pastor who insists he's telling the truth, with documented evidence supporting his claims, with a conspiracy theory that refuses to accept either, with scammers exploiting the mystery for profit, with millions of people online who've invested emotional energy in believing something that contradicts all available evidence. The real question isn't whether Bob Joyce is Elvis Presley. The question is, what does it say about us that we've become so invested in the conspiracy that we've stopped listening to the person at the center of it? What does it reveal about internet culture that we've created systems where fiction spreads faster than truth? What does it demonstrate about our collective psychology that we find a hidden Elvis more believable than a faithful pastor? Bob Joyce has spent his life serving his faith, leading his church, and pointing people toward Christ. The internet has spent recent years trying to convince the world he's someone else entirely. The evidence supports Joyce. History supports Joyce. Documents support Joyce. His own consistent testimony supports Joyce. Yet the conspiracy theory persists. What happens when verification loses to speculation? When documented facts lose to compelling stories? When a real person's actual life loses to the fiction we'd prefer to believe about them? That's the real mystery of Bob Joyce. Not who he is, but what his story reveals about who we've become. If this investigation resonated with you, if it made you think differently about how conspiracy theories spread online and impact real people, then please hit that like button and subscribe to Crime Brief for more deep dive investigations into the strangest cases, the most persistent mysteries, and the real stories behind viral conspiracies. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the Elvis theory? Has it changed how you view viral online conspiracies? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.